worked exactly as we expected it to.
And actually, Adam describes it here as being dragged off like this, and actually, what putting him in the water involved was a very large, powerful 4x4 vehicle and a rope, and me saying, "Go!" And he's like,
we were wondering if the disorientation of being in a car accident would be something we couldn't add to this experiment. It actually felt exactly like being in a car accident. The windshield shattered the moment the car turned over. I'm kneeling on this windshield, water spraying up through it. I'm talking to a camera in the wheel well. Then the car lurched back over, so I'm climbing, looking for the other camera that's above water now, narrating to that camera. The car took about a minute to sink, during which time I couldn't open any of the doors. My safety diver was locked into his seatbelt. He had to cut himself loose, actually. And in the end, I had to resort to the emergency air I had on my shoulder. We had 4 sources of air in the car, and I used 3 of them.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where we find as a rule of thumb, it's not the stuff that we anticipate that's going to go wrong and be dangerous that's the problem. It's the stuff that we don't anticipate. In this case, the car, we didn't look at it as carefully as we should have beforehand. It turns out it had 500 cigarette butts in it, and it was a heavy smoker that had been in there, so the water is like coffee inside this thing.
At the moment the car filled with water, I couldn't see my safety diver, he couldn't see me, and the 2 safety divers outside the car could not see him.
And so this is like we had anticipated that our most, the worst problem that we could have would be if both the safety diver and Adam got knocked out when the car first hit the water, and then then what are you going to do? If at least one of them's awake, then there's going to be air and rescue going on. But we couldn't tell whether this was the case or not. Except the one thing I could hear, as it turned out, the car didn't go down that quickly. It took a while. And so Adam, as this car is rolling around and trying to, it didn't just flip over and go straight down. It kind of went one way and then straight down went another. And I'm listening to him chatter, to the camera, narrating all the weirdness that was going on in there once he hit the water. So I was able to relax at that point. So
it wasn't like it was a near-death experience, but it was one thing I've learned about myself on this show is that I don't panic. It's a nice feeling, but I now know how close I can get to panicking. I know where that line is. I don't plan on getting close to it again.
You gotta have that line though. All right, did you ever try to bust a myth that went horribly wrong?
Yes. You've been when you're a kid, you're at the store and you're trying to convince your mom that she should buy you the really sugary cereal, and she says that the box is more nutritious than the cereal.
Yeah.
We thought we should test that.
So I get a hold of I get some boxes and grind them up into like a kind of a cardboard paste and form pellets out of that I dry.
We're not going to test this on ourselves, by the way. We figured lab mice.
So we made food that our cardboard food for the lab mice. Added a little sweetener to it so that they would be more inclined. Well, actually, non-nutritive sweetener. But it turns out they don't really get that. So
we had one cage as a control with mice eating mice food, one very happy group of mice eating Fruit Loops. And then they're like, "You like the purple ones? No, I like the green ones." And then the mice eating Jamie's non-food cardboard pellets.
And we left them that way for about a week, and they seemed like they were doing fine. It comes up to Friday, and I go in to check, make sure they have plenty of water and everybody's okay, and it all seemed fine except for the mice that were eating the cardboard pellets. They were a little jumpy. They weren't like skinny or anything. They were just a little jumpy.
We were weighing them every day, and they were getting lighter. They were definitely getting lighter,
but not that much. And they weren't happy, but they looked like they were fine. And so I turned the lights off and go home for the weekend.
So Monday, there's definitely. And Monday morning, there was no longer 3 in that cage. There was one really fat one. We named Killer. We didn't have cameras on the cage over the weekend, so we don't know exactly how it went down. We should tell you that if we knew this was going to happen, we would not have done it. But since it happened, it's funny, and we're going to tell you. It really appears that Killer ate his two entrees like corn on the cob. Like there was head, rib cage, and tail. So I held him up to the camera and I said, "This is what happens when mice attack."
And then I fed it to the snake.
It's the circle of life, right? And then Discovery saw the segment and they're like, "Please don't ever air that. It's going into a vault. No one is ever going to sue." We've seen it, but we're not allowed to show it. We did, however, early on got a reputation for being able to do difficult material in family-friendly ways. And, you know, our demographic's like age 6 to 80, so Discovery, when we said we wanted to do Son of a Gun, about the Civil War soldier getting shot in the junk by a bullet that pierced the womb of a woman 50 feet away and supposedly impregnated her, we called it Son of a Gun. We actually did that in a tasteful way, and Discovery was very pleased with the results. So we said, "Great, we want to do a whole episode about farts." And of course, the finale of an episode about farts, in which we weren't allowed to actually say the word fart. We couldn't even say Chanel number 2. But the finale was, of course, can you like them? After the most asked question on the Discovery website, the most submitted myth, can you light your own farts? So of course that was the finale, and we filmed it, and Discovery refused to air it, but we brought it to show you guys.
And now for the flatulence finale.
Adam, did you know that the question as to whether or not you can light a flatus is the most frequently asked question on the website?
And something tells me it's going to be me doing the lighting.
I would think that that would be the case.
I guarantee you no one's ever caught it on high speed, and I'm pretty sure it's television first.
Make sure you're sitting comfortably because the Mythbusters are going for a television world first to rival the 1969 moon landing. Can you really ignite an air biscuit? Any normal person would find this quite humiliating.
This is not necessarily the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. I mean, there's the Goldfinger revisit where I had to shave my whole body on camera and then have a rectal thermometer inserted. There's running in the rain where I had to wear a skin-tight latex rubber jumpsuit.
Yeah.
There's peeing on the third rail where I had to pee on an electric fence, which was on the same day that I had to shave my whole body.
And now there's lighting a flatus on national TV.
Get that gas moving.
Adam's confident because the earlier gas analysis proved that his flatus does contain a small amount of methane.
I've got the lighter, it works. I've got the position. And any minute now, hopefully, we're going to make television.
The lights are ready, the high speed's on standby, but Adam just can't sit and deliver.
False alarm.
Try as he might, there's just no evil ejection.
I think he's got what we would typically call performance anxiety. I don't know how to rectify that. I